What's poppin', everyone? It's your boy Snowy Kurama welcoming you to Week 6 of LBL Games of the Week. If you need a recap of what this here series is, I am taking my favorite and or the best games from each week of the LYCANROC Battle League and showing them to you on the channel. This is the 6th week, as I said before, so if you want to see all of the other weeks that have already passed, you can check that out in... Let's see if I remember to put it in the description this time. But there's also a playlist in the channel. Let's go ahead and get to our dice. 1 is Midnight, 2 is Midday, 3 is Dusk, and then 4, 5, and 6 are respectively those divisions. 5 is Midday. Our first game of Week 6, Games of the Week, is from Whelmed versus, this is VR 79? I believe so. All I can see is their Showdown names, and I know that Whelmed is my adorable, so... Yep, this is the game for Midday. Let's go ahead and check it out. The leads... Maybe Polytoad. Maybe Electrode. I know Electrode's pretty good, decent lead since it's fast. And Whelmed, well. There's a Samurott, so probably that. We see the Terra types are Fairy on the Indeedee. And that looks to be it. And on driver's side, I'm just going to call him Driver. I think that's what he was going for with his name. Ground on the Electrode. So we see the Electrode and the Samurott go, and then we see a Bramblegast switch, probably to take an electric attack. Actually takes a grass attack, which I mean that also serves that purpose, so it's completely fine. We see a Volt switch. We see a Life Orb as well. Roaring Moon comes on in. Infestation, a nice little trapping attack. We just see a U-turn, which gets out of Infestation right away. Back out to the Electrode. Strength Sap doesn't really recover a ton from that. We see a Taunt, which is pretty good against this thing, considering it just went for a Strength Sap. A Volt Switch right on out into Roaring Moon to prevent the Strength Sap. Pretty nice. We see an Infestation go off as well, which is going to do some residual damage to the Roaring Moon. Donphan comes on in. Knockoff, we might see an Ice Shard here. We actually see a switch over to the Samurott, which also receives a knockoff, getting rid of that Choice Band. The Donphan looks to be Custap, which is nuts. I don't remember if Whelm's Donphan also was on a previous episode with Custap. I think it might have been. But that was pretty nasty. That was pretty good. I don't know why I was going to say nasty. It was great tech. But it's gone this week, unfortunately. See a knockoff again to catch something coming in. We see a miss on the Ceaseless Edge, which really sucks. What is that attack? Like base 90 accuracy or something? It's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. We see Quaquaval coming in here, which can rapid spin any sort of Ceaseless Edge spikes, which seems like Whelmed does get this time around, as well as hitting in with a close combat for super effective damage. Annihilate comes on out here. We see an Aqua Step, which takes it down to just about half and raising the attack speed stat. And then we see it into a Brave Bird, neutralizing the Annihilate. Very good for Driver's part, but we see the Quaquaval is at sub 50%, which means anything that is scarfed or anything that has priority might be able to just deal with this thing pretty easily. We see the Indeedee coming on in, a Bronzong switch on the Terra Fairy Shadow Ball. Not sure if that knocked out the Quaquaval or not, but it still did pretty good damage to the Bronzong. We see a Stealth Rock up on driver's side. Bronzong is taken care of with the rest of the second layer of spikes from the Ceaseless Edge. Quaquaval comes back in here. We're looking at a speed tie here, folks, unless this Quaquaval is... Nope, not Scarf, because we did see 2 different moves. So it is a... I don't know. Who's faster? We see a Brambleghast coming in here. Whelm's not going to take that chance. You see a close combat, which is pretty good read, considering the Ghost type just comes on in. Aqua Step takes... Oh, it doesn't take out their Brambleghast, and it was able to get a Rapid Spin off on the its last move. But that does mean that Driver's Quackavole is now +2 speed, +1 attack. Not looking great, of course. Samurott comes on in. We see an Aqua Jet neutralizing that threat once again. Actually, this time it was on the driver's side that the threat was on, because the Annihilate was pretty scary on Whelm's team. We see a Freeze Dry taking out the Samurott into the Indeedee, setting up that terrain again. Do we see a Psychic move coming off? Probably not. Roaring Moon just comes in on that. See a Dazzling Gleam, not doing too much to the Politoed. See the Dawn Fan coming on in. The Weather Ball will probably take this thing out. Yep, we see that. Iron Moth comes on in. We see a Sludge Wave, not yet taking out the Politoed, and now it gets all the way up to full, and with a Chesto Berry. Very nice prep on Driver's part, but the as a nasty, nasty crit on the Earth Power. Considering that this thing has, what, base 110, I think, special defense, and Politoed's not really known for its special attack, I wonder if... I'm pretty sure the crit would have mattered there. Very, very unfortunate. Because now it is Indeedee versus the world. We see a Dazzling Gleam come off, and then a Weather Ball will do quite a bit of damage. Politoed will likely go down here to another Dazzling Gleam. And then what? We see Roaring Moon, who is likely going to outspeed this thing with an Earthquake. And that is the game. Very good game to our Midday coaches. And I have actually a special shout out this week. Special shout out to this game between Sound of Snow and Silver Knights. Holy macaroni. I thought this game deserved a spot maybe on Games of the Week. It was a toss-up between the two, but if you see the link down in the description, I'm putting a lot of things in the description. Hopefully I remember all of them. You'll see that this game is also pretty hype. And that is it for Midday. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3 is going to be Midnight, 4, 5, and 6 will be Dusk. We go on to the Midnight game. We have Smuffleham and the Spy Guy. These two have been on past Games of the Week, and I try not to feature the same coaches over and over again, but sometimes the game is just that good. Leads? Maybe the Orthworm. Oh, no. I know. This is Golem lead, because he's a silly looking guy on this team, and I can remember that much at least. And on Snuffleham's side, Wayne, there's a Samurott, so maybe that thing, maybe the Tusk. That's what I'm thinking. We see Samurott, yep, and we see Golem, and I knew the Golem part, so let's take a look at their Terra types. Snuffleham looks like it's a Steel type, Raging Bolt, and I think that's the only Terra type on his team, or Terra Captain rather. And then on Psy Guy's side, it looks like we have a Terra Fairy Golem, which is here, and that's going to be that. So we see a Terra Fairy coming up, and a first turn Ceaseless Edge. Probably thought that he was going to go out into... not the Deoxys. I don't know what. Yeah, I have no idea. Maybe he just wanted to get up hazards. that's all I could think of. You see a Rock Polish coming off from the side guy say. He's just setting up now. Terra Blast takes the thing down to 3. Ceaseless Edge gets up another spike. Unfortunately, Golem lost Rapid Spin, which I was thinking about that today. Why did they get rid of Rapid Spin on Golem? You know how much better this thing would be? This thing would be great. Well, not great, but it'd have a more of a presence in draft. That's for damn sure. Getting rid of Rapid Spin on this thing was a crime against humanity and a crime against the Geneva Convention, etc., etc. We see another Rock Polish coming off, putting this thing at +4 speed. A Ceaseless Edge miss, very much hurts. We see a Terra Blast coming off. A crit mattered. Crit off of a 3%. I'm not sure exactly. I don't think anything on Snuffleham's team really outspeeds this thing. We could see a Terra Steel Raging Bolt going for the Thunderclap since this thing's no longer a ground type. But aside from that, I am not sure. Raging Bolt comes on out here. We see a Thunderclap actually does end up killing the Golem. Threat neutralized. Terapagos comes on in, maybe to get rid of these hazards, maybe to set up. See a switch on out to Skeledirge, probably unaware. We see a Dark Pulse, very good read from the Psy guy there. Going right out into Great Tusk, probably another Dark Pulse if I were to take a guess. Yep, there it is. And we see it's the Photosynthesis attack. We didn't really see here. I don't think, yeah, Raging Bolt is a not booster. So this Great Tusk is going to do quite a bit of damage probably, even though the Terra Shell does make all moves become resisted at full HP. Rapid Spin gets rid of those hazards as well as pumps up the turtle up to Time Zone speed. Terra Starstorms, the floor just coming in. Also another... Nope, there was a Great Tusk. I was like, oh, Skeledirge. But just Rapid Spin? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's been a day. It's been a day and a half. Floor just takes quite a bit from that Terra Starstorm, I think. This thing is usually known for its special defense. We see Orthworm coming in, probably to resist something. We see Screens, Floor just here. Skeledirge comes on in. There's a spike off from Psy Guy's side. Pretty good. Torch Song does quite a bit. There is no shed tailing. Just kidding. It's a Metal Burst. A Metal Burst Worm guy taking out the Skeledirge. That is crazy. That is craziness. See Iron Crown coming in to take the Skeledirge's place to do an Iron Defense. We see a Shed Tail coming right off into the Palafin. I didn't recognize this at first, but we do see a Light Screen and an Iron Defense, which is pretty dang good for this Iron Crown. And this thing's behind a sub, which is very unfortunate. Good thing this thing has Tachyon Cutter. At least it has access to it, so the sub won't stay up for long. Quark Drive, we see a speed, because of course we do. A Hypnosis! Hypnosis, what is this? Pre-sleep ban Gen 9 OU? Is that what we see right now? Just in time for the screens to come down. But this thing must be especially defensive because it didn't take too much from the Shadow Ball. Raging Bolt comes on out here, probably to take the other Shadow Ball. And that thing is taking nothing as well, but we do see the Spadef drop. RNGesus is clearly favoring Psy Guy with his Iron Valiant. We see another Hypnosis coming off, but we see a Lumberry as well. Substitute, and then a Thunderclap to get rid of this big ol' threat, not Palafin, Iron Valiant. Kiram comes in. Do we see a Terra Steel, Terra Blast? See an Icicle Spear, which I don't think is doing too much. I don't even think it kills the sub from what I can remember. Nope, just Dragon Pulse, which is still fine because it does a ton of damage to bring that thing down to 4. Unfortunate that Smethling could not get the kill. Thunderclap just takes it out the rest of the way. This Raging Bolt's really doing the most. We see this Turtle guy coming back in, getting the Raging Bolt down to 9. Dragon Pulse, a crit, couldn't even kill this thing. Very unfortunate, but this Raging Bolt does not seem to care about the crazy luck that Psy Guy has been getting with these rolls. Thunderclap does not work. We see a Roar coming out. Very good prep on Psy Guy's part, bringing the Roar for the Thunderclapper. Great Tusk comes on in. It can get rid of the spikes pretty easily with the Rapid Spin, bringing it up to +1 speed. We see Deoxys. Now this thing is still going to be able to outspeed the Great Tusk here, just naturally. So we might not see this thing stay in. We might see a switch to the Iron Crown, but who really knows for sure. This thing can't really... Well, it can touch the Orthworm, but at this point, anything can touch the Orthworm. So this thing might just go down here. See a Psycho Boost taking Great Tusk down to 0 with a special attack drop on the Deoxys. We see a taunt. Do we see a Tachyon Cutter? We do! Doing quite a bit of damage to the Deoxys. Orthworm comes on out. We see a Tachyon Cutter. That means the Deoxys must be some form of choiced. See a superpower coming off. Does nothing to the Iron Crown because of that psychic typing. Tachyon Cutter takes this thing down to the rest of the way, and that is GG's. Good work to these guys in Midnight. Last but not least, we have 2 newcomers to Games of the Week. We have Naukle versus Deadpool 619. And I gotta say, folks, the Dusk games this week, they were popping. It was hard to pick a Dusk game for sure. Well, we have these two here, and we will go ahead and check it out. Let's see, leads. Well, there's a cleaver there that likes to set up, although I think I do remember him leading Delibird. So I think it's going to be Delibird, from what I can remember. And maybe Claude, maybe the... I know she likes the Rain Thunderous, so probably that to set up. Let's go ahead and see. We have the Blastoise, actually, versus the Cleavor. Okay, never mind. It was a different game that you led Delibird then. Terra Captains we see from Naukel's side. I think it might be Terra Bug Low-Kicks, because I don't see any non-stab Terras on her side. And then we see... That's... Okay, so must just be stab Terra types this week, because I don't see any different... Oh yeah, the Ogerpon. I believe he has Terra Ogerpon. We see a U-turn coming on out. A water move definitely would hurt, especially since this thing's special defense is not that great. Into the Delibird. We see a Liquidation doing quite a bit of damage to this thing and this defense drop, although I think that defense drop is quite a lot. A lot, when I say that, I mean it has a better chance. Like it's a high chance of defense drop is what I'm trying to say. We see an Ender coming off of the Delibird, and then we see another one. And we see Eruption coming off on the Hisuian Typhlosion. And a Custat Berry Destiny Bond to take this game down to 5-5. Very nice. See Urshifu Rapid coming out against the very cool shiny Grimmsnarl, and then a Clodsire takes its place. Thunder Wave is immune. Very nice switch there. We see a Parting Shot taking that thing's very not great offenses down anyway. Poison Jab into the Zapdos, didn't really do a ton, and then we see a Brave Bird taking this thing down to quite a bit of HP, and look at that recoil. That recoil is nuts. Into a Yawn. On comes out the Blastoise. This thing Brave Birds again, just to get some residual damage off. We see a Grimmsnarl coming in, maybe getting up the screens, maybe it's a Bulk Up set. Does take that Liquidation pretty well. We see the screens coming off. We see a Rain Dance from the Thundurus, and then the other screen coming up. Parting Shot, which is a great idea. This thing is nuts. We see the sack of the Zapdos coming in on a Volt Switch. Blastoise comes on in, probably going to try to liquidate one more time. We see the Rain Dish, which is a nice little leftovers in the rain. Pretty decent. See a Brick Break, actually, getting rid of these screens. Very nice prep on Naukel's part for that. See Ogerpon coming in, probably just to tear things apart. See the Grass Terra raising its speed stat. And we see an Ivy Cudgel, which actually does quite a bit of damage to the Thundurus, even though it resists. Very crazy. I mean, it's Terra Grass. It's Terra. See the Grimmsnarl coming on in, maybe to get in some spikes again. But we see it is immune to Prankster moves because it itself is a dark type, and this thing has Prankster. Very self-explanatory, but it's something that I definitely forget about. See Reflect coming on in. Wind Bolt Storm, a new move from Legends Arceus for this thing. I don't remember exactly what it does. I think it is Hurricane, but electric typing, and it can paralyze, which, you know, of course it can. Parting Shot out into the Spectrier to do a ton of damage. A Wind Bolt Storm does a decent amount. We see here. We see a Thunder Wave, very good Thunder Wave on this thing. Now it is not faster than all the other toys that Naukel could bring out. Rain Dance setting up again, just for this thing to come down to a Shadow Ball, and then we see a the what does it called? The Grimnay. Yep. And then we have the Urshifu coming in, probably setting up probably just surging striking this thing into oblivion because of the rain. We see an Ice Spinner, actually. Very interesting. Maybe she thought that the Ogerpon was going to come in. I don't know. But it not punished at all because of the paralysis. We see Surging Strikes, which is definitely what I would have done in the first place. But, oh well. We see the Ogre Pawn coming in with that +1 speed stat, and then Clodsire comes in. This thing's probably going to die to an Ivy Cudgel. Yep. Very, very strong. We see the low kicks coming in. Do we see a Terra Bug? We see a Swords Dance. This thing with a Swords Dance is scary as all get out, ladies and gentlemen, because this thing isn't going to take a bug move very well from Terra Bug. This thing isn't going to take one either. And even if you resist with your rock type, I don't know if it does. It might. It's still going to hurt. See a light screen, doesn't matter. We see a knockoff. Probably should have set up the reflect, considering this thing has been a physical attacker. This thing's definitely a physical attacker, and low kicks is, yeah, they're all physical attackers that are left. So the light screen being set up, I'm hoping that was a misclick on Deadpool's side, because I don't get it. I cannot claim to get it. We see Cleavor coming in, taking the place. We see a U-turn, which does almost... Oh, there's a focus sash. Never mind. That was going to happen in the first place. Out to the Ogre Pawn. We see an Axe Kick coming off, doing almost all of Ogre Pawn's HP and damage. If that, like... No, that's a light screen, not reflect. So this thing was quote-unquote fine, I suppose. But this thing is known for its priority attack, so we'll probably see a Sucker Punch. Yep, there it is. Then Cleaver comes in, and we see a Sucker Punch again, not taking out the Cleaver. Did I say this thing is Sucker Punching? Or this thing? I meant to say low kicks if I did. I'm not entirely sure. A lot is happening. Stone Axe sets up the rocks, but is too little too late since this is the last mon on Deadpool's side, and we see an Aqua Jet from Nowcole taking the victory. This is some heat. I don't know about physical guy here, but from what I can remember, its physical attack and its special attack are the same. This thing put in some work. The electric guy, Thunderous, I can't remember no type of names. The Destiny Bond Endure was super, super clean, I think. Very good job to both of these Dusk competitors. Here at the standings for the kill leaders and all that, we have Midnight, Psy Guys, Iron Valiant still kicking it at the top with 14-4 at 10. Iger's Iron Moth at 10-1. Lies of Jays' Salamence at 10-4. Leganen's High Dragon at 9-4. And then Martin's Darkrai at 8-3. We see Midday Ditto leading the cause with Hisuian Arcanine at 12-2. Owan's Raging Bolt at 12-3. Holy Macaroni's Primarina at 11-2. Ditto's Landorus Incarnate at 10-3. And Driver's Iron Bundle at 8-3. Last but not least, in Dusk, we have Mr. Ric Flair's Porygon Z at 12-3. Deadpool's Spectrier at 12-4. Boaz's Hoopa at 11-1, really just racking up them Terra kills with the Blunder Policy. William's Roaring Moon making an appearance at 11-4, and Jeremy's Gliscor at 10-3. Over here in the standings, we have Iger at the tippity top of Midnight in 5-1. Table Guy is right behind him, also 5-1, but +8 instead of Iger's +10, as you can see on the screen. Martin is at 4-2 at +7. Not too far behind is Venice at +6. Pretty tight-knit grouping there at just the overall, really. In Midday, we have Ditto up at the tippity top at 5-1 +19. Holy Macaroni 5-1 as well, but at +16. Sound of Snow not very far behind, 5-1 +13. And everybody else is just kind of dragging behind compared to them three. It's kind of nuts. And in Dusk, we have Boaz, 22 at 5-1 +15. Mr. Ric Flair, only 1 point behind him at 5-1 +14. And then Raphmon is there with 1 loss more at +10. And then from there, everyone is kind of 4-2, and then we have some 3-3s. Kind of the same thing in the other divisions, except for I feel like the gap in Midday is quite a bit more. Yeah, that's that. Over here in the Pickems, good lord, ladies and gentlemen, you have been pulling up Midnight at a staggering 84%, You guys were on the money damn near compared to all the other weeks when you guys were 50-50 or even less than that. We got an 84% chance hit on Midnight. That's crazy. I think that's a record here on Games of the Week for sure. Midday is at 67%, which is kind of where we see the average, kind of. And it's upper. It's, now that I'm looking at it a little bit closer, it's kind of the highest that Midday has been. Yep, it's the highest Midday has been. I think it's 8% higher than 58 if I did the math, the quick math correctly. And then in Dusk, we actually see a dip down and 42% chance, 42% guesses correctly. Dusk was the one at the top in the beginning, and now it seems like it's shifted downwards. And that is our Pickems. Thank you so much for watching LBL Games of the Week, hosted by me, Snowkurama. If you want to see more of the Draft League videos that I have, you can go ahead and check out the channel. Hit that like if you did like, hit that subscribe so that you know when it is that I have a video out there, and to make the funny number go upwards makes me happy. Hit that bell to know when I'm uploading again. And with all that being said and more, this has been your boy Snowkurama, and I will see you for the Week 7 Games of the Week. Bye-bye.